Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be doing a deep dive into the latest information exposed on the new Trailmakers update, according to a recent dev diary. And this one specifically goes into all of the different environments that we can expect with the new space update. So one of the first things that that they show here, I'm going to go back to the beginning because this is the space station. In the previous dev diary, they highlighted that the existence of the space station, and this is what it looks like inside apparently. They did mention that although there is no like missions necessarily, there are NPCs to interact with. So we can clearly see there's a Chirpo here on the space station with a little interact icon. And if we go back just a little bit, this is actually pretty funny. They made a little bit of a meme here showing no quantum rudder, obviously not desirable, but using a quantum rudder, very desirable in space. So they are reinforcing this new quantum rudder piece that they showed us, which helps us travel in the direction that we're facing in space, kind of like feeling more like a plane rather than just stumbling around and tumbling through space. So here, these are all the names of the planets. So we have Hullrum, which looks like it's a big question mark for some reason. This Chirpo looks very concerned at what's going on at Hullrum. Then we've got NASA over here. Looks like there are some dogfighter space pirates at NASA and perhaps some weaponry there. There'll be some more details on those later. And then we've got Dune, which looks like we have some bones and flora. And is that perhaps a sandworm little drawing there? Because Dune, I believe, is inspired by Dune. And then we have Tera. And looks like not as easy to read over here what Tera is all about. So now let's go over here. More quantum rudder stuff. This looks like some type of elevator. Yeah, we got the quantum rudder memes again. All right, and then, oh, look at this. I guess this guy's probably gonna tell you to use a quantum rudder. Oh, there's like a computer terminal over there. Dude, one of the computer terminals had a little interact icon as well. I wonder what the interactions are gonna be about. They're probably all like little tutorial things to teach you about the new things in the new environment and the new map. And then we're getting in a creation here. This is an older creation I've seen, but I guess it's been repurposed for space. And whoa, this is actually new to me. This does not look like an asteroid field. This looks like a debris field. So that's kind of interesting. All right, now we're getting our closest up view of what the space station looks like as of right now. So that's pretty cool to have that confirmation. All right, so now we're going to hop over to the actual dev diary video that they uploaded from their stream where the devs actually go into some of the stuff. And I've gone through and watched it all, and I've highlighted what I think are some key moments, but I will leave a link to the full dev diary if you guys want all of the juicy details. Okay, so now we're starting off with the introduction to one of the new planets and environments known as Dune, which we saw a little bit of. So let's take a look at what that looks like.
You can wonder where the inspiration for this name came from. This is one of the planets, and it's good looking.
I think it turned out really nice.
Yeah.
All right, so as they were talking about it there, we get to take a nice look here. So what they were saying was that everything that they're doing is all going to be pretty much a work in progress until release. Like, there's no end goal necessarily. They're just going to keep working on it until the release date comes, and then that's going to be the state that it's in. So it's already looking really, really good. Everything is subject to change, basically. And I'm really curious about the sandworm. I watched the whole dev diary, and they didn't really go into detail about confirming or not confirming what the sandworm thing is all about. But looking around here, looks like we have potentially a spawn point right down there. This is a really cool craft, by the way, using some of the new pieces. Wait, is that? Oh, those are just normal pipe pieces. That actually looked like, I thought that was like a flexible cable for a second, but nope, I think it's just normal pipe pieces. So one of the coolest parts that they highlighted in this section is what it's like to exit an atmosphere. So let's go over that right now.
I think another thing I wanted to show with this video was what it looks like when you exit an atmosphere, because I think people have been asking that a lot. Like, what is the transition like? I think you can see right here that it sort of has this yellow or sand color tint. until you. It doesn't take as long to get out of the atmosphere as it would in real life. It's again the arcade space versus the NASA space.
Yeah.
This one is a short trip.
There it is.
It's blue now.
All right, so they were talking about how exiting an atmosphere, they didn't want it to take very long because exiting the atmosphere isn't really the fun part. It's actually being on one side or the other. So it's a quick transition. And if we're looking at this planet from a distance here, it looks like there's a lot of little wreckage things, and also way back there, it looks like we got some more bony type things, rib cages, things like that. So I am really curious what the gravity feels like on this planet compared to the other planets. I wonder if they're all sub 1G gravity, or if some of them actually have more than 1G on them. All right, so then next up is the Hull Room planet, or I guess this plate, it's not really, in this case, it's not really a planet, but an asteroid, so I'll let them intro that real quick.
It's not even a planet, this is an asteroid, and you might recognize this from the teaser, because this is where the teaser was shot. The asteroid is pretty uneventful at the top of it, but in the sides here there are these awesome little crevices. And where does it take us, Sasha?
Yeah. And well, you'll see right here. If there's any Danish viewers in the stream, you might guess why it's called Hulrum or Hulrum in Danish. I don't know if you caught that one.
Whoa! I speak Danish and I didn't catch it. And I didn't catch that. Hulrum.
Hulrum. Hulrum.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Which basically means how do you translate that into English?
Empty room.
Empty room.
So I guess the name of the planet translates to empty room, but obviously this is not an empty room, as we can see by the video here. We've got NPC Chirpo in here, and I'm guessing that these things that we've been seeing these things around, I'm guessing they're either spawn points or Chirpo locations, because now that I think about it, back on the space station, look at that. Yep, there it is. Back on the space station video, we have these right here. You can see there's Chirpos underneath them. So in the airborne expansion, there were these little Chirpo planes that were crash landed everywhere, and you had to rescue the Chirpos. I guess these are what the Chirpos are using to get around in the SpaceBound update. So this is probably not necessarily a spawn point, but an indicator of a Chirpo is nearby. Or it could be both. Who knows? Yeah, so this environment's pretty cool. A big crystal cave hidden inside of an asteroid. So if I had to guess, this would be the zeroest of G's as far as an actual planet atmosphere goes. I don't even know if that has any G's inside or not. It kind of looks like it might just because the spaceship is on the ground and not floating in the air, the Chirpo spaceship, but who knows? All right, and then next up on the list,
I have my personal favorite, this one, Tera. What is this planet, Sasha?
So before we even get to the planet, can we appreciate this rover here? This looks like an awesome rover. So they've actually teased a bunch of other stuff, and included with, not included with, but in concurrence with the free DLC, which gets all of these environments and all of the space physics and the new inertia blocks and gyros and all that stuff. There is going to be an extra paid DLC, which has a lot of cosmetics, a lot of cosmetic pieces that you can add, which I think is probably these glowing things here and probably these glowing decals as well.
It's a mushroom planet, as you can see. Chirpos have this thing that they really, really like a certain type of food, which are these like tiny blue mushrooms.
So that was an interesting little thing that she said there. Apparently the Chirpos like these blue mushrooms. Now, I don't know if that means anything as far as a motivation or like some type of thing you can do for the Chirpos is like gather mushrooms for them. Like, it sounds that way to me, but at the same time they said that there aren't any missions, but there's just NPCs to interact with. But I'm wondering if something can happen with the mushrooms and the Chirpos, because it sounds like they want them and we're here, so can we get mushrooms for Chirpos? I don't know. I'm probably guessing no, and this is just like some lore exposition, not necessarily actual gameplay mechanics that are going to be introduced. So actually this part of it is also interesting too. Let me show you what he's saying here.
And I actually I didn't want to reveal the location, but there's a secret cave, so I kind of just cut to it. and I cut a few times also in between because I found out this tunnel is very long.
It gets more and more claustrophobic.
And it gets more and more claustrophobic, but I made it to the end here, and now you are inside the planet of Tera. And I think we actually got a really good question in the chat here. Do the mushrooms make them blue?
I don't know.
All right, so apparently on this planet, there is a secret cave that leads inside the planet. So I don't know how hard this cave is going to be to find, how small the entrance is compared to how big the rest of the planet is. But I wonder who's going to be the first person to actually find it. Oh, whoa, what do we got over here? Hold on. There's something going on over here. There's some glowy things. What are these? All right, well, I really want to find this secret cave now because they didn't really mention this stuff in the dev diary here. They just kind of glossed over yeah, and then it just restarts. It restarts back at the beginning of the clip. Okay, there's some lore to be discovered inside Tera apparently. Okay, then up next is NASA, which is, I think, the moon that we've seen in a lot of the footage so far, but there's something different about it this time. I'll let them explain.
That's NASA. And you've already seen this one. It's because it's the moon that we've showed off before. I think actually in the very first video we showed this one. But up until now we have only showed it in peaceful sandbox mode. And in reality the moon is a bit more hostile because this is where after the space pirates are defeated in Airborne, this is where they flee to.
Yeah.
And they built these very cool bases on the moon.
So this is actually pretty cool. So there will be apparently a peaceful and hostile sandbox, kind of like there is the airborne sandbox, but this time in space. So we will now confirmed have the option of fighting other spacecraft, and also apparently, okay. I think I actually just learned a little bit of something about that last question I had on the previous one on what those glowing things were, because listen to this part here.
Recognize it?
If anyone didn't recognize it, and they're guarding something behind those red shields that they really don't want you to get. It's the mothership from Airborne that is now parked here because you kicked their butts in Airborne. So now they fled to this place and they're guarding some loot very heavily.
Okay, so what we saw inside that tunnel leading into the interior of Tera and those little glowing things, I think that is also loot to be found inside Tera, because the devs just confirmed that this mothership, the mothership that we defeated at the end of Airborne, has retreated to space and is now guarding some more loot that is hidden by shields or protected by shields. And this loot looks awfully similar to what we saw there in Tera. So that is interesting indeed. And then here actually, this is a really cool zoom out here. Look at how many spaceships are guarding. I'm counting like at least 6 spaceships, at least, guarding that area of the moon, which is where all the loot is. And then there's some other base connections up here. And then there's also, looks like there's a hole that they're all leading into in the middle. So that's pretty interesting. So this was a really brief part of the dev diary, but also super good to know, because in normal Trailmakers, when you're in the air, you cannot enter build mode. You have to be on the ground or underwater to be in build mode. But listen to this.
Will you be able to go into build mode in space? Yes.
There you go. Confirmation. You can go into build mode in space, which makes a lot of sense for a space-themed map. All right, so another interesting thing, they were showing off a bunch of artwork. Here is, hold on, let me back up a little bit. So we've got a lot of stuff going on here. We've got the Dogfighter reskin. So this is what the Dogfighters look like in their space versions. We also have a Pew Pew turret tower. This is what's going to be shooting at us from the ground. I'm guessing it's going to be like the flat cannons, but in space. Then we have the power tower. So what they said about this...
And
what do we have here?
That's how you destroy the shields if you want to get to the loot underneath.
So that loot that we saw underneath in that little cavern in the planet, it looks like you actually have to destroy the shields on top of the planet. So here, as we zoom out, you can see we have these 3 nodes here. And let's actually go a little bit backwards. And if you look really, really close, you can see there's cables coming from the nodes. And you can see there's actually cables going to each of these 3 shield sections. So then even if we zoom out, here we go. Now you can really see the cables. All the cables are leading down through the center of the planet And I guess you have to destroy these power towers in order to disconnect the power to the shields down below to gain the loot. So that's actually really handy to know, because I think without knowing that exactly, I might have been down here for a little while just shooting all these things and wondering why the shields are still up. All right, and then one more thing I wanted to point out is what the dev said regarding the decals on this thing, because I didn't really even notice until they mentioned it.
And it's
And look at those glowing decals in space. There's just
yeah. Oh yeah, glowing decals as well, right on it.
Have we talked about that?
Yeah, we have. Don't worry. But we didn't show that many, I think, because we had so much to talk about.
Yeah, so you can see like the rings of the eyes are glowing on this thing. When we look at the rear view, these are glowing, these are glowing. Like there's a lot of glowing stuff on here. So the LED kind of aesthetic really is very fitting for space. So that is, for me, those are the things that stood out as important stuff to know about the update. But if you want to go and look at the dev diary, they went a lot more into the various artwork here and some of the inspiration and stuff like that. But now you have an idea of what all the different environments are going to look like in comparison to each other. We don't really know necessarily as much what they're going to feel like in comparison to each other. That is where the gameplay is probably we're gonna have to wait for that. So I'm curious, which of these environments that you've seen in this video, what are you most looking forward to? Which one piques your interest the most? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy some more that you can find right here on the end screen. Hope this video has earned your subscription. Anyway, this has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.